Hello, hi, welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. Are you ready to find out what's going on with Tim Benchfield? Yes? Well, all right then. Let's catch up with the Benchfields. All right then. Hello and welcome. Welcome once more to the studio. Come in and sit down. Sit down and make yourselves comfy. Is your coffee beside you? Yes? Good. And what about a biscuit? Something for you to nibble on. Have you got a biscuit? No? Why not? What do you mean you didn't have time? All right, quickly, run to the kitchen and get a biscuit. I'll wait for you here. Okay, so, did you get a biscuit? Oh, you got more than one, I see. Very clever. Never have just one biscuit if you can have more than one. All right, so it's time for us to try and unfold another part of the Benchfield mystery. The mystery of what happened to Tim. 1 minute, he was standing at the checkouts, at the till, next to the conveyor belt, with the rest of the family. Well, with most of the rest of the family. Mary's not there, remember. She went to visit her parents, the kids' maternal grandparents. So, as I was saying, 1 minute, Tim was standing at the till with the others. And the next minute, he wasn't. He'd vanished into thin air. He just disappeared. He reappeared a couple of minutes later though, didn't he? Alfredo wanted to talk to him. Alfredo wanted to ask him something. And that's when he noticed that Tim was nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be found. And then there was a huge crash and a lot of shouting and everyone rushed to see what the noise was about. Everyone rushed over to the aisle with all the canned and tinned food to see what was going on. Well, not everyone rushed over to the tinned food aisle, did they? No, nearly everyone rushed over to the tinned food section, but Lizzie went in the other direction, didn't she? All right, and we all remember what happened next, don't we? Yes, Tim was thrashing about on the floor, screaming that his brain was exploding. But then he stopped flopping about like a fish, the way we all know that SpongeBob SquarePants does.
Sandy, something's gone terribly wrong. There's no water in... Here.
Of course there's no water. Nothing but air.
And everyone started to wonder about what he was doing. Tim's dad, Alfredo, tried to ask Tim what he was doing. But Tim didn't really explain, did he? It seemed that Tim didn't know what he was doing. Doreen and John thought that it was sad, didn't they? They thought that Tim had lost his mind and gone insane. Alfredo didn't know what to think. And what about Lizzie? Well, Lizzie was suspicious from the start, wasn't she? Lizzie smelt a rat. She thought that there was something fishy about the conversation that Tim and Eddie Finn had. Do you all remember? When Tim went to find the car, he was told to be back in 10 minutes. And then, when he didn't come back, Alfredo sent Lizzie to find him and bring him back. Alfredo sent Lizzie to fetch Tim, to go from the supermarket into the car park and come back with Tim. And when Lizzie found Tim, He was just finishing a conversation with Eddie Finn, the local bad boy. Lizzie was suspicious. She thought that there was something fishy about the way that the two boys were talking, and she suspected that Eddie Finn was up to no good. Also, when Lizzie turned up, the conversation quickly finished, but the last thing that Eddie Finn told Tim was the phrase, "Don't forget." Tim refused to tell Lizzie what they had been talking about, but she was still suspicious. And now, the Benchfields and Dave Squid are all standing in the aisle. Alfredo was finding it difficult to understand what was going on, but I think that Dave's going to explain. So, let's find out what's happening now. Alfredo, do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? No, not really. Can you repeat it for me, Dave? Of course. What do you remember about what I already said? Well, I remember that you said that you weren't shopping. I can remember that much. Yes, that's right, Alfredo. I'm not here in the supermarket to do my shopping. Can you remember anything else? Well, I remember that you told me something about security. Wasn't it something about Loretta and how to manage things? Well, no, that's not quite correct. What I started to tell you, what I started to explain was why I'm in the supermarket. Yes, I wanted to ask Dave, why are you in the supermarket? Oh, God, Dad, you're hopeless. Dave started to tell you all that. Yes, well, I'm not feeling too clever, so I'd like Dave to tell me again. Can you do that, Dave? Yes, of course. As I said, as I told you all, I was working at the police station when somebody called. Somebody telephoned the police station. Okay, I'm with you so far. You were working and someone phoned the police. Go on. The caller, the person who made the phone call, was the security manager from the supermarket. The security manager from this supermarket. Yes. All right, I'm with you. You were working and the security manager from the supermarket from this supermarket called you. Go on. Now, the security manager asked for police assistance. Police assistance? What? Like police helpers? Like police community support officers? The civilians in uniform? The play police? Why would the man from the supermarket want the play police? Why wouldn't he ask for the real police? That's not very logical, is it? No, Alfredo, you misunderstood me. I didn't mean assistants, A-S-S-I-S-T-A-N-T-S, the plural form of the noun assistant. I meant assistants, A-S-S-I-S-T-A-N-C-E, the noun from the verb to assist. I meant that the man asked for help, assistance from the police. Do you understand? Oh, I see. You mean that he asked for police assistance, meaning he asked for help from the police. He didn't ask for police assistance, people who assist or help or aid the police in their work, like the play police, the community support officers.
Well, basically, you're all under arrest.
Everybody, look what I just found. Hello, Earth. Can you read me? This is Starship Captain Warlock from the planet Freakout, broadcasting to you on the intellectual galactic airwaves. Can you read me, Earth?
We receive you. Do you require assistance?
Far out, man. Yeah, we require 10 assistants, preferably Swedish. stuck the wrong pants.
Did you all see what happened there? Alfredo was confused by what Dave said to him, because the two words have exactly the same pronunciation. When we heard what Dave said, we can't tell which word he was saying. The pronunciation of assistance and assistance is exactly the same. Assistance, 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 assistance. Now, this isn't a big problem, but it means that we have to use our brains a little bit more. Normally, when we're listening to someone, it's quite passive. We don't have to concentrate very hard. We receive the information through our ears and our brain decodes what we hear. Normally, this is a completely automatic process. It's like reading. We can all read. Okay, I know that and you know that. But have you ever tried to not read? It's impossible. Look at some words and try to not understand. It can't be done. You learn to read, and unless something happens to your brain, you can't unlearn this skill. You can't unring the bell. So when we see something written in a language we read, it doesn't matter if we want to understand or comprehend it. It's automatic. Our brains look at the collection of words and we understand. We comprehend. Now, with listening, it's the same normally. Our brains decode the noises we hear. It's automatic. All right. But think about what happens when something makes the situation more difficult. Think about what happens when you're listening to someone, but there's a lot of background noise. Or maybe you're listening to someone on the phone, but the line is terrible. And the phone is making lots and lots of extra noise. Also, think about what happens when the person who's speaking to you doesn't speak your language very well. What happens in these situations? Well, normally, in these situations, your brain compensates or tries to compensate. Do you know that verb? The verb to compensate. Now, the verb to compensate has got two meanings. The first meaning is to give something, usually money, to acknowledge, to show, to accept that someone suffered a loss or an injury, something like that. All right. Now, if the weather changes and rains for months, then we know that this will cause problems for the farmer. And so, the government will compensate the farmers. The government recognizes that there are certain unpredictable situations that cause trouble for farmers. If the weather is bad, then perhaps the farmer will have nothing to grow or produce. And that means that the farmer and his family will have no money. Also, we won't have anything to eat or drink, so everyone will lose. So the government pays the farmers compensation. They compensate for the farmer's loss. The farmer lost all their crops or animals and they can't make money, so the government compensates them for their loss. The government gives them money to try and balance out the difference in what the farmer normally earns, the money the farmer normally makes, and the money that they're going to make now. Not a lot or nothing. All because the weather was bad. And that's the second meaning of the verb, to counteract, to reduce something by doing the opposite. You forgot to buy your girlfriend a present on her name day, so you try to compensate by buying her a bigger, better birthday present. Now, the same thing happens with our brains. When we're listening to someone and there's a lot of background noise, but we don't have time to talk about that now. Because yes, that time has come around once more. It's the end of the lesson. Our 15 minutes has come to an end and it's time for me to leave you for the day. But don't worry, I'll be back on your screens in 2 shakes of a dead lamb's tail. Yes, almost before you know it, I'll be back here grinning at you from your TV screen like a deranged primate. All right, people, I'm off. It's time for me to have a coffee. And as for you, well, it's entirely up to you. have a coffee, have a tea, have whatever you fancy. But remember to have fun. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right. If you're having fun, then you are doing it right. So, all right, people, have fun, and check out the website. You know, the one with all the letters, www.mediaclick.hu. I'll see you all tomorrow. See you later. Bye.